Hi Heaven Ho, this is LIS and today I will be reviewing one of the next gen AAA titles that is released known none other than Godfall. Godfall is a looter-slasher action RPG set in a high fantasy where you play as Orin, a hero that is set forth to fight the forces of evil forged by his own brother Macros, a greedy villain thirsty for blood and glory. So far the lore, if I'm really honest, it is pretty average. The main premise is obvious, you can see the plot from a mile away. At the start you meet two NPCs which is as far as I know are the only NPCs you find in the entire game. Xenon Earthminder and the Seventh Sanctum. The premise is the typical powerful villain is super greedy, wants to be more powerful than he already is, deceives and manipulates people of interest to join his reign of terror. One hero rises to the occasion alongside the friends he makes along the way. Then he inevitably wins the war, the end. My main gripe is that it's not because of the idea of the story. Sure, the idea is cliche, but the execution is just poor. Your main character Orin is a blank slate with no interesting personality traits whatsoever. Xenon being the only NPC that is a bit interesting since he gives a more optimistic feel in the overly serious atmosphere the game has. Sanctum being straight up the Lotus in Warframes, as she is a guide and the key to progressing the story and the endgame. I would forgive the idea being the usual if only the execution was actually well placed. But no, the villains have no interesting personality traits either, they're all just edgy blank slates with only one objective. None of them have any motivations that are outside of Macros' motives, like what if they want a better way to change society? Nope! So yeah, sorry for being too harsh, but this is literally the entire structure of the game's lore and story. Average at best for now. The progression in this game is average as well. Skill tree is mostly stats than actual skills like might stats, spirit stats, vitality stats, all stats, and stats that increase damage for certain attacks like technique attack and shield attack. Gear is mainly weapons, accessories, and banners. There is no cosmetic progression, you can stick to the same Valor plate from start to end of game. No farmable skins. Please prove me wrong! So only skins available are for the owners of the Ascended Edition. Augments are neat as it gives gimmicks to attacks, and to access the full pull you need to be max level 50. Leveling is balanced, not too fast and not too tediously slow. The main source of leveling up is killing enemies similar to your level. Dreamstones is a good passable endgame which features enemies from previous realms, and the bosses now have new gimmicks and loot. Ascended Tower of Trials is another form of endgame after Dreamstones, which features of course the usual. More gear. Build diversity making is of course always good and never bad. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, next part. The gameplay in this game is for sure one of its strengths since it is fluid, fast-paced, and methodical. There are two attack variants, light and heavy. Light being the quickest but only chips health and leaves the soul health, and heavy being slow and hard-hitting and leaves no health soul chips. The dodge is fast but not overpowered since its iframe window is pretty short so that it makes you dodge well than just mash when facing a red attack. The parry function is neat and very useful to enemies who like to do blue attacks. Yep, you are dead meat, Excelsius! The technique attacks are definitely nice. The timed attacks give certain special mechanics like an urgency trick from the spears, wild swings from the sword and daggers, and power smash from the hammers and swords. The E attacks are nice too and are really good in pulling a lot of DPS on enemies. The switch attack when the second weapon to swap is maxed can be useful when AoE killing small enemies. The Q shield attacks are good only in situational purposes such as the far range rocks to throw your shield at, knock down small enemies and slam kill them, parry attacks and slam attacks. The Archon Fury. They are the worst attacks in the game. It straight up drags the quality of the gameplay. It is just a god buff with increased stats and some helpful AI allies, so you can face roll enemies and bosses who are almost gonna die. This makes the Valor plates feel not special and just skins at best. Alright, my pros and cons for those who are too lazy to read are: good fun gameplay, nice graphics, decent build diversity possibilities, lackluster story, lack of cosmetic variety, and no matchmaking. My final score for Godfall is a 5 out of 10. It's average, and I feel there are too many core aspects in this game that are missing, like color customization at least for cosmetics, more skills, and actual power attacks that are unique to each Valor plates and weapons. Alright, this has been my review of the new game Godfall. If you like what you see, please leave a like and join the High Heaven Hunters by subscribing. See See you later, and stay up.